Okay, welcome everyone to the 2025 EMP Debate. I will be the moderator today for this debate. My name is Evan, and we will be debating for who will be in charge of the EMP server. Currently, we will be having some main candidates of Elijah, Ryan, Micah, Simeon, Alex, Connor, and Samuel. And we will also a little weird thing is that we're also having another selection, which could be the triumvirate, which is basically the three people leading the server, and that would be Alex, Micah, and Simeon. So we are gonna, for anyone who is watching right now who is not a candidate, you will be watching as the candidates will answer some questions, bring out their arguments and why they are the best candidate, and then you should consider that in how you vote in this election. Be aware that the election will end Saturday, January 11th at 23 o'clock. And so basically you just have till Saturday night. So to start off, we will begin with everyone's opening statement. So I'm going to ask Micah, could you please present your opening statement? You will have 2 minutes to do so.
I got you. Good evening, distinguished members of the debate panel, fellow candidates, and honored guests. My name is Micah Lackey, and I stand before you today as a candidate for server president, uniquely qualified due to my exceptional time availability and resource management skills. First and foremost, my time availability sets me apart. In today's fast-paced world where every second counts, I have structured my schedule to ensure that I'm not only present but proactive in addressing the needs of our server community. I understand that the role of server president requires someone who can be there when issues arise, whether it's in the late afternoon or really late night. My dedication to this position means I can commit to being available when it matters most, and ensuring that our community never faces downtime in leadership or support. Moreover, my resource management capabilities are crucial for the health and growth of our server. Managing resources isn't just about allocation, it's about foresight, planning, and innovation. I've honed these skills through various projects where I've had to maximize limited resources to achieve more with less. From organizing community events to managing server upgrades, I've demonstrated an ability to stretch our resources further, ensuring that every dollar, every piece of equipment, and every volunteer's hour is used in the most effective way possible. I propose a vision where our server's resources are not just maintained, but are optimized for efficiency and impact. This includes sustainable practices, strategic partnerships, and leveraging technology to enhance user experience without unnecessary expenditure. My approach to resource management will make our server not only a place of enjoyment and learning, but also a model of efficiency and innovation. In conclusion, my candidacy for server president is built on a foundation of time availability and resource management. I'm not just ready to serve, I'm prepared to lead with vision and pragmatism. I ask for your support in this election, promising to bring a level of dedication and strategic oversight that will elevate our community to new heights. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Micah, for that great opening statement. Now we'll be asking Simeon for his.
Good evening, everyone.
Before you start, Sim,
yeah,
before you start, I'm going to cut you off right there. Just know, for all the candidates, I will be telling you how much time you have left in the debate channel. All right, you can continue.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I want to begin by thanking you all for being part of this process and for the opportunity to speak on why I believe I'm the best candidate for server ownership. This debate isn't just about leadership, it's about the future of our server and how we balance our community's core values with the natural changes that come as we grow. First, let me be clear. I'm not looking to turn this server into some sprawling, overly complicated space with dozens of bots and countless channels. At its heart, this server is still a close-knit group, a place where we can connect and play. However, this server has naturally grown beyond just close friends, becoming a space for anyone who plays games with someone in our circle. That's a good thing. It shows we've built something worth being a part of, but also it means the old two-channel structure is no longer enough. My vision is about improving, not overhauling. I want to add a bit of convenience and polish to reflect what this server has already become. Specifically, I propose re-implementing the bot that was previously used to ensure anonymity in voting during server elections. It's a proven tool to make voting safer, fairer, and more comfortable for everyone. Beyond that, I don't have a list of bots to add. And if I do add a bot, I don't plan on introducing anything unnecessary. If we use bots, they will be carefully chosen for single-use purposes, designed to streamline tasks without disrupting the server's feel. I understand the concerns about keeping things simple, and I share that goal. But simplicity doesn't mean clinging to outdated methods. It means making thoughtful updates that serve the community without adding unnecessary complexity. I believe we can strike that balance, keeping the smaller scale, organic feel of our server while making it easier and more enjoyable for everyone to use. So I ask you, do we stick with a system that is no longer serving us as well as it could? Or do we embrace thoughtful, minimal change to improve the space we all share? I believe we can grow while staying true to our roots, and I hope you'll join me in making that vision a reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simeon. Next up, we will be having Alex present his opening statement.
I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. This is a quote from George Bernard Shaw. Ladies and gentlemen, today we begin a momentous decision, a decision that could potentially alter the futures of all members of EMP. As a renowned Irishman, Bernard Shaw clearly saw the importance of servant leadership in society, and I hold a similar conviction. EMP has grown and thrived over a number of years, and may be at its peak this very moment. I have seen members come and members leave. Though through that, one thing has become apparent. All people need a good leader. Though I cannot attest to my own leadership thus far, as most likely the members would reject my testimony, I can clearly see the best solution to this conundrum, and that is to appoint a triumvirate. We all have shortcomings, both as following members and as leaders, but I fear that in the account that another is elected, an individual who has not been here from the very beginning would allow the server to fall into disrepair. They would abuse their power by not using it. People would be inactive, members would hesitate to suggest events at the fear that they would not be well received. I would even go so far as to say that the server might die. None of us want that, and that is why I believe that peace should be the priority. Without unity, we will fall apart, and nothing splits people apart more than power. Having a united form of leadership, that of the triumvirate, we will be able to maintain the best accountability for the actions of the leadership. We will be able to relieve some of the stress of managing problems by distributing it between us. And most importantly, we will allow the server to continue to thrive. Having the power distributed between three members will create a system of checks so that no one person can abuse their power or abuse it by not using it. I have truly come to love this community, and I would despair to have it fall, to watch it go from a wonderful, encouraging, growing community to a metaphorical wasteland of lost potential. Please don't allow this to happen. You as the community have the biggest power and the biggest responsibility. That is to correctly determine the best leader for our community. I urge you to consider the history, to align the facts, to see the vision. Vote for the triumvirate. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. All right. Connor, could you please unmute for a second?
I am currently
Would
here,
you like
yes.
to confirm? Would you like to confirm that you are dropping out?
So, yes, I feel that I am dropping out due to the fact that my plans for candidacy was to overhaul the server. My goal was to make things more efficient, more organized, and more developed, as we have plenty of people that in the two conversation channels that we had last time was very dysfunctional. However, I feel that not only do I not have the real time to dedicate to the server due to real life things such as a job, my daughter, my future wife, and my family that is surrounding me, to the point where it is very hard to communicate. I feel there are better candidates that are here. And as much as I would love to be a part of that and to be more a part of the team, it's just something I don't see myself being able to dedicate the proper time to be one of the leaders, but more a bystander with ideas for the one who is the one over everything. So yes, that is why I wish to drop out. Not only that, I really have a lot going on in the background, and it'd be very hard to go over everything in an organized way.
Thanks, Connor. I respect that. Um, Additionally, I do believe that Elijah also will be dropping out, and so Samuel, it will now be up to you. Just remember, you don't need to make it perfect. Are you ready now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so unlike Sim, I do believe that two channels are enough for this server, seeing how there aren't very many people in it, and most people aren't ever active. I also personally believe the server was nearly perfect as it was, the only issue being leadership. And I promise to not make any decisions without the support of the people. And also, I come from a middle-class family, and I know a lot about being in a middle-class family. That's all.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for having your opening statements. They were all wonderful. And now we'll be moving on to the round of questions. So, how we will do this is I will ask a question to each candidate, and they will answer it with about 2 minutes of time. I'm going to go with 2 minutes. If that takes too long, I'm going to have to shorten it down to 1. But for now, we're going to start with 2 minutes. So they'll have 2 minutes to answer their question. You do not have to make the most of those 2 minutes. In fact, people might prefer if you just make it down to 1 or, however much you need. So we will have a few rounds of that, asking some questions. After every candidate has been able to ask a question, we will then have rebuttals, in which case the candidates themselves will be able to ask each other questions or bring up some arguments against each other. So we will begin with Simeon. Simeon, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay. So be aware, Sim, for this you have 2 minutes. The first question will be, what capabilities and knowledge do you have on how to manage and organize a Discord server?
You're asking my previous history, or?
Just any history or anything that you can provide on how to manage this server and how to organize it.
I already said kind of how I would organize the server in my opening statement. But I would like to lay out my previous history with doing servers. I've made the original server for EMP was created by me, fully just me. And I also worked on a streamer, Eggnite, his Discord. I worked on that for a while. I made my Discord. I have moderated another Discord that will no longer be named. For specific things that I will do to this server for the most part, I just think that it's good how it is. I would like to swap the user's page back to where they are all together rather than separate per name. I feel like it's a little more cluttered that way. And I would just think that the previous leadership needed a bit expanding. I plan on implementing mods to do a majority of the work with me as the backing and the ideas, with Evan being one of the mods. He has accepted to be a mod under me if I win. Yep, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you, Simeon. Next up, we have Alex. Alex, what capabilities and knowledge do you have on how to manage and organize a Discord server?
I believe that the past EMP speaks for itself. I have been the primary caretaker and manager of EMP for the past year, and before that, I was the person who actually mainly structured the server. Sim claims to have originally made the server, and while that's true, he lost access to his old account for reasons unrelated to the server, and because of that, basically he lost the power to manage anything in the server, and he had not allowed me to have full control over the server, and so I couldn't allow him to have full control over the server. Anyway, it was a funny situation, but I did manage the server well, I would say, for that year or two that I was solely in charge of it. I also, as mentioned before, I was the one who originally started the group of EMP, and Sim did push us to move to a server, and he did create the original server. But again, I was the one who structured it. I essentially came up with the original plan of having one channel or maybe two for like general and memes, and just a simple voice channel. I think that sticking to simplicity is the best for both the group and for general productivity and gaming, and it really just allows everybody to have access to the server and to all the events. In addition to that, the split names, the reason I do that or the reason I originally did that, and the reason I think it's a good idea, is because it allows people to feel truly like a member once they have that role. Every single person who is part of the server has a role, and that's very unique because not many servers have individual roles for every single person, and that just really distinguishes our server from the rest, and it makes every single member have a specific place in the server. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Samuel, what is your position on this? Let me repeat the question for you. What capabilities and knowledge do you have on how to manage and organize a Discord server?
Well, I don't have much, but I'd be willing to learn. And unlike Sim, I think bots are stupid and would make the server only more complicated. And I will say, if Alex's leadership was so good, then why did we need to make another server if it was that great? And Sim lost his account last time he was in charge or something, so he's not very reliable, you could say. And I will agree with Alex when he said that it's good to have each name separated. I do believe that it makes you feel more like you're a part of the server rather than just a member of something random, and kind of have a role and a purpose, you could say, unlike some people. And yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome. Thank you, Samuel. Now, Micah, for the question, what capabilities and knowledge do you have on how to manage and organize a Discord server?
I would say that I am probably more experienced than Samuel. However, I don't have much experience still, but I am more than willing to learn. And for the sort of things like what we're talking about, so with the split names, I don't like the split names either. I feel like it's, as Sim said, it was cluttered. And for the bots, on the matter of the bots, I would say that bots are okay as long as there's not way too many of them, and some that are for pointless reasons. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Micah. All right, so now is where we will open up the floor to any of the candidates and so you candidates, Alex, Micah, Simeon, and Samuel, you can now ask each other questions or make some accusations. I ask that you do it. Please do not interrupt each other. Even though we have limited time, we need to be able to allow the audience to hear and understand what we're saying, and to make full arguments. And so, does anyone have any questions that they'd like to start off with to a specific candidate?
I have a specific question to Micah to start
Could-
us off.
All right.
But
You guys can get
beforehand,
started
could I
on it
make
now.
a statement, Samuel mentioned on?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. The losing of my account has nothing to do with relevance. That was a unfortunate circumstance that has nothing to do with the server nor my leadership abilities.
Okay, so Micah, I have a question for you. Do you know exactly what pragmatism means? Or could you explain in your own words what pragmatism means?
Why do you ask?
Because you used it in your debate, and I'm just curious, as I'm vocabulary challenged, as you know. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so you could just explain to us.
Okay. Well, you see, pragmatism. What? Pragmatism is a attitude or policy.
Thank you, Micah.
Just for your very stupid mind. You're welcome.
Now I have a question for Simeon. I would like to ask, if you don't mind sharing, what exactly was the situation that ended up with you losing your account?
There was a multitude of unfortunate conundrums that stumbled. You're asking why I lost my account?
Yes.
Multitude of unfortunate conundrums while I was swapping my phone because it had broken. I had to swap my phone 3 times because the one they sent me kept on not working with my SIM carrier. And so when I swapped to one of them and swapped my 2-factor authentication over, it did not correctly do it and lost me my 2-factor authentication, therefore losing me my account.
Thank you. And one final question for Samuel. Samuel, what exactly does being part of a middle-class family have to do with running a server?
No, I can state that for him. That has everything to do with running a server.
Please let Samuel answer that. Samuel?
I would also agree that that question is irrelevant.
Irrelevant? I'm asking a question of Samuel.
Alex, what was the question again?
My question was, what exactly does being part of a middle-class family have to do with running a Discord server?
Big grief. What kind of a question is that? I think everybody knows what that has to do with running a Discord server.
Agreed.
Agreed.
What a terrible question. Sheesh.
Thank you, Samuel. No further questions.
All right.
Good.
Any other questions from the candidates? All right. Sounds good.
Oh, wait.
So,
Yes,
you have
I
something?
have a question. Sam, why exactly do you want to add bots, and what kind of bots would you add?
I stated the main bot that I wanted to add was for an anonymous voting system. Other than that, I'm not sure, and I don't really think I would need to add another one. I would ask the community about that if I were to think of one, and go by their judgment.
And why exactly would we need an anonymous voting system?
For the protection of the people, it is not safe for people to be voting and not and everyone to know who they are voting for. You could be targeted for harassment or argument, or the opposition could specifically target certain people to argue with. I feel like it's more safe and fair for everyone if the voting is anonymous, like the original stated rule of the new server was when we came up with the idea of having a new server.
Or you could also say it could be for someone to vote for themselves without getting caught.
There is ways around that. It is shown who votes for who at the very end of the voting system, and if anyone were to have voted for themselves, then that will obviously be disqualified.
So it doesn't really do anything.
Well, it lets you not target them during the voting session, therefore changing the vote as it is happening.
Huh.
All right.
Okay.
I do believe that will be the time that we have for this question. Thank you, everyone. There were some really good questions asked. So that did go over the 2 minutes I initially had planned for the rebuttals and the questions. But honestly, I allowed it to extend, and I will in the future continue to allow it to extend because I think there were some really good questions asked by the candidates.
Hey,
So
excuse me.
yes.
I've heard this question crop up out of the crowd. What would you do with the server when your girlfriend, if you get one or have one, takes?
All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Good job.
So moving on, we will now be asking the next question. I would like to clarify something for the audience. We do not have the time to answer every question, especially the ones in the public question sections. Mostly the public questions were there for me to consider for this debate, and I have considered multiple of them and used some of them. What I'd like to say is that after this, you can ask as much as you would like to the direct candidates and get their perspective of it, but we don't have time for that in this debate. All right, so we're going to start moving on into the next question. So the next question will be directed first of all to Alex. Alex, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Awesome, thank you. How would you deal with conflicts, drama, and any other sensitive issues that might arise during your time as leader of the server?
Well, it entirely depends on the situation. There are a drastic number of situations that could occur, and really that has been a very difficult thing to manage for the entire history of the management, which is pretty much the history of people. So probably I don't know that I can say exactly what I would do, but I do know that with the triumvirate, we'd have the best, most likely have the best possibility of resolving situations with as little conflict as possible, as there would be multiple perspectives, there would be multiple brains trying to figure out how to solve the problem without upsetting people, and there would also be just a general agreement, or there would have to be an agreement between the three members of the triumvirate in order to uh, be able to limit all of the type of conflict. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. All right, next up, we'll be talking to Samuel. Samuel, how would you deal with conflicts, drama, and any other sensitive issues that might arise during your time as leader of this server?
By conflict and drama, you mean in between the members of the server?
Yes.
The members of the server are not toddlers. I think they can figure it out for themselves. I don't think they want somebody stepping in and figuring out their problems for them, unless, of course, they ask. I personally do not. If I had an argument with, let's say, Jace, I wouldn't want Micah stepping in to sort it out for me. I would want to sort it out myself with Jace. That way we both agree on something, not being forced to agree to something that we both never really thought about.
Thank you, Samuel. I'm going to extend the question a little bit for you. So, what if the issue became a bit more of a wide issue that affected the entire server more than just a couple people?
I would give them a chance to sort it out, and after that time is up, I would kick the person that started it for a few days.
All right. Thank you for your answer, Samuel. Next up, we have Micah. Micah, how would you deal with the conflicts, drama, and any other sensitive issues that might arise during your time as leader of this server?
As I stated in my opening statement, I have a lot of free time and can always be there to moderate, you could say. So if people are yelling and screaming at each other, I will of course just simply mute them. It's pretty easy until they calm down. So, and then there's of course I'd probably have some mods appointed to help me with the issues when I am not there. That's it.
Thank you so much, Micah. Next up, Simeon. Simeon, how would you deal with the conflicts, drama, and any other sensitive issues that might arise during your time as leader of this server?
I have not found that this server is much inclined to drama. I've not really seen anything above simple complaints or things against. Really, leadership is the main thing that I've seen people complain about. But that's a whole thing that I've already talked on. And we will probably discuss later in the questions. If something were to come up around the server, it definitely depends on the situation. For most things, I actually agree with Samuel, where just leaving it to them. But if it becomes a problem for more members in the server, it's definitely a case-by-case basis. Talking to the people responsible or having my mods talk to them if I'm not available, or if it comes down to it, a temporary or permanent ban or server mute if it would be necessary.
Thank you so much, Simeon. So now, does any of the candidates have any questions that they would like to ask to the other candidates?
I have one question for Micah.
All right, go ahead.
Micah, you say you have a lot of free time. Is this true?
Yes.
So
Thank you.
it's my understanding that you're 16 now. Am I right?
I am.
And 16, at least in the typical American culture, tends to be a time when members of society start to get jobs, start to get girlfriends, start to get more social activity in their lives. Do you agree with this?
I cannot say either way.
And do you think that you might start soon engaging in these types of activities?
I don't see it as a possibility in the near future.
Thank you. That is all I have.
Any other questions? All right. So we will now be moving on to the next question of this debate. And I actually have an audience question, which I was trying to not use, but we will be using it because I might be assassinated if I don't. So first of all, we will be asking this to Samuel. Samuel, what would you do with this server when your girlfriend, if you ever get one, or if you have one, takes all of your time? Samuel, are you there?
Yeah,
Thank
well, I would be very capable of running this server from my phone if need be, but I don't see this happening anytime in the near future. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Samuel. Next up, Micah. Same question to you. What would you do with the server when your girlfriend, if you ever get one and or have one, takes all of your time?
As a man living in this world, I know that you have to assert dominance. And in order to do so, I would simply just stop her from taking up all my time and or break up with her. It would be that simple. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Micah. Next up, Simeon. What would you do with the server when your girlfriend, if you ever get one and or have one, takes all of your time?
Obviously, as someone who has had many girlfriends and is clearly planning on getting many more, I I I plan on getting said girlfriend to work as a mod for me. So it doesn't take up my time. It takes up her time for the server. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Simeon. And finally, Alex, what would you do with the server when your girlfriend, if you ever get one and or have one, takes all of your time?
First of all, as previously stated by all of my opponents, I would like to again also say that the chances of that seem to be low at this point. However, if that were ever to happen, I would say that the triumvirate is really the best possible solution, as there would be two other members of leadership who would be able to step in and fill the role that I potentially that the I would still be here as much as I can, but the things that I wouldn't be able to do, maybe that are time like urgent or whatever, they would be easily like still filled by the triumvirate, and there would be really no impact based on that happening, I believe. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alex. Now, does anyone have any questions? Any of the candidates have any questions for each other on this subject?
I just feel like the triumvirate would be too slow to respond to certain things that would happen or crop up. And I'm just curious how that would work, Alex.
So what I mean by triumvirate is I mean, assuming that we continue with this plan of what Sim has previously suggested, which is that the owner of the server is the account that owns the server is actually an account that is shared between all three members of the triumvirate. And the purpose of that would be to allow anybody that is part of the triumvirate to access the account and to alter things that need to be changed at a urgent time. And they wouldn't necessarily need to be like a fast response type thing or a fast like vote type thing. It would just be one person sees a problem, they fix it, and later that can be discussed if they need to revise it or something like that. Yes, I believe that the triumvirate really will just the triumvirate will have the time of all three people combined, basically. Thank you.
I have a question as well for Alex. So, I feel, and also for a couple other people, broadly speaking, I feel that the stated question kind of assumes that you will have a girlfriend. This is a assumption, and I feel like saying that you won't have a girlfriend is a little bit of a cop out. So let's take this question assuming that you will have a girlfriend. In the triumvirate suggestion, I feel like there's only one of two options that would work. One, everyone in the triumvirate has a girlfriend, in which case I feel like we would have the same problem as just one person. Or all of the triumvirate have one girlfriend together, and I feel like that would be worse. Do you have a solution for that?
Well, I did answer the question, and also I don't exactly see how I don't I'm not 100% understand what you're saying, but I would like to say that even if everybody has a girlfriend in the triumvirate, there would still be plenty of time when the times are not overlapping that the three members would be able to manage the server. And also the likelihood of that seems low at this point. Again, as I mentioned before, of at least especially of all three of us getting one and happening to overlap on our schedules all at the same time. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for answering the question. Honestly, the reason I didn't ask that question in the first place is because I also don't believe that this is ever going to be an issue that we're going to have to deal with. But let's move on to the next question. So, beginning with Micah. Micah, how will you encourage the growth of this server and the participation of its members?
I would do so by asking the right questions. Like earlier with the question about the girlfriend, which was very important. And I would also I'd always be there playing games, encouraging people to play games with me. And I think with me as president, this server would burst into life.
All right, thank you, Micah. Next up, Simeon. How will you encourage the growth of this server and the participation of its members?
I feel like the growth of this server happens naturally over time, and if I were to force it, that it would be not what you would want. Artificial growth and random people joining is not a correct way to grow the server. Just the adding on of friends and friends of friends and friends of friends of friends naturally as we play games. Same with the participation of people. I don't feel like it is the job of the leader to specifically try to get people to participate. Maybe events or something. I feel like I would definitely want to do events like this debate, but more on the side of gaming events, to encourage the participation. But other than that, it's just being online and playing encourages the participation of people playing with you. And if they don't want to participate, that would not be good to specifically target them to make them participate.
Awesome. Thank you, Simeon. Next up, Alex. How will you encourage the growth of this server and the participation of its members?
As Sim said, so far the growth of the server has flowed organically. Essentially, we have been able to, as Sim said, friends of friends, friends of friends of friends and friends, etc. Just slowly are added to the server. For example, I have never met Daniel in real life, but he has been a great addition to the server and has added many things that no one would have expected from him, or anybody for that matter. But I do believe that the server has been growing naturally enough on its own. But also, if I do see things that encourage a lot of community interaction and stuff like that, such as last year we had a large Minecraft server going with almost half of the server all at once, and that was very engaging for the entire community and very enjoyable for everybody involved. Um, and there are other things like that that I've seen happen and advocated for and tried to plan out and make sure that everybody is involved and that as many people as possible are able to enjoy that as well. Um, and really, again, the server will continue to grow organically, assuming that somebody doesn't kill it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Samuel, same question to you. How will you encourage the growth of this server and the participation of its members?
I think the participation of the members will grow because as president or leader, I won't do anything without the members of the server voting or deciding stuff amongst themselves, and I will see if I think that fits where I think the server should be going. And like Alex, I do think the server will grow naturally on its own, but also just inviting more people that we know to join the server would make it grow faster as well.
Thank you, Samuel. Now opening it up to the candidates to ask your questions if you have any. Any questions?
Samuel, about your method of leadership, that seems rather slow, having everyone vote for every decision, as we have seen with the moving over to the new server. Can you talk on that?
I'm not saying that everybody votes on things. I'm just saying I think it would be good to take advice and ideas from the people of the server rather than just from myself. I think it'd be better to get more people's perspective on it rather than just my own.
Mm.
Any other questions? Moving on to the next question, we will be asking Micah first. Micah, what makes you the best candidate for this debate?
I'm for the people. I love the people, and I care about what they want. I feel for them. I just want to do what they want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. I'd like to add something on to the question. How will you handle situations where your vision of the server might conflict with the majority opinion?
Well, it wouldn't be that hard to just have a vote, and if I think that it's possibly the best plan and that I'm certain that everyone will enjoy it if they just get to know it, then I would probably go for it. But if people still don't like it, I just take it back. I just undo it.
Awesome. Thank you, Micah. Next up, we have Simeon. Simeon, what makes you the best candidate for this debate?
Best candidate for this debate?
for this election. My bad.
I feel like I've already said this or done a couple things on this in my opening statement. Just the building up of this server to accommodate more people, and the adding of fair elections rather than the not anonymous elections. I feel like that in itself is good, as well as I just feel like I would be good at listening to the people, as what Micah was saying earlier. Yeah. I feel like I've already touched on this topic.
Thank you, Simeon. Additionally, I'm going to add one more thing to that, just like I did before. How will you handle situations where your vision might differ from the majority opinion?
Definitely in matters where it's simple and people are really, and it's definitely a lot of people against me, I would fold to the people. But when, again, like Micah said, I feel like they would like it if they just tried it, then I will force it through. And if there's something that I am very adamant on and the rest of the server is also not adamant on, then you can vote me out when the next year comes. But sometimes not listening to the people is better for the server as a whole, as opposed to listening to the people.
Thank you so much, Simeon. Next up, we have Alex. Alex, what makes you the best candidate for this election?
Thank you, Evan. From the beginning of this debate, and really from the entire discussion of new leader and new server, etc., I've never claimed that I am the best candidate. I believe that, and this is why I'm advocating for it, that a triumvirate would solve the problem of needing to determine the best leader in the server. Personally, I think that the best leader would be too hard and too relative for a group of rather chaotic teenagers to decide. So I believe the triumvirate does solve that solution, as mentioned before, by limiting power, but not so much that things can't be done and timely. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Alex, how will you handle situations where your vision differs from the majority opinion?
Well, I mean, as the server has already seen, there have been multiple situations where my opinion differed from that of the members of the server. First, in EMP, the original EMP, I should say, that is when Sim proposed the move to the new server. I believed that it was best for the server to remain without moving, and when I was overruled, I submitted and willingly went along. And I'm still actively trying to pursue what I think is best for the server, even though the community did decide to go ahead and move to a new server. Also, there have been other incidents in the past where the entire group usually said that they would rather something over me, over what I would want. So often I submit to that or allow whatever rule or etc. to happen, despite my wishes not to. And finally, I don't remember what I was going to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Samuel, same question to you. What makes you the best candidate for this election?
I will say I'm probably not the best candidate for this election, but I do believe that Alex has already had a shot at it, and he's not the president now, which tells you he did something wrong. Sim also had a shot at it. I think we need to give new people a chance at it to see who we really think should be the leader in the future of the server.
Thank you, Samuel.
Yep.
And to add to that, how will you handle situations where your vision might differ from the majority opinion?
It really depends on if it's super important. Like, if everybody wants the names to be all clumped together, I can do that because this server really isn't. It's really about whether people are happy or not. Because why would you want to be in a server that you just hate? And also, but like, if it's something more important, like whether there are people that want to, I don't know, maybe make a new, just like for an example, let's say they want to legalize swearing openly in chat. I wouldn't go for that just because obviously it doesn't meet our standards as a server and what we think it doesn't whatever that's called. It's not what we represent.
Thank you, Samuel. Now I'm going to open up the floor to any of the candidates. This will be aware this is the final round of questioning. This is the final round for you to make your rebuttals and to ask questions and dive deeper into your opponent's cases and to improve your own. So if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and ask them now, and that's to the candidates.
I have questions for all three of my opponents. and I will begin with Samuel. Samuel, you mentioned in your last statement that obviously I did something wrong because I ended up not in charge anymore of the server. And I would like to ask honestly, what was it that I did wrong? Because I've heard a lot of people making accusations of me, but those accusations are either untrue nor warrant the impeachment of me as the server leader. So please just speak on that and why you think that I did something wrong.
I personally think the server was just fine as you were running it, but obviously the people weren't happy with it because we moved to a new server. That's why I'm saying that. But I personally didn't have a problem with how you were running things.
I would also like to ask that the question of Sim now. What exactly did I do wrong to end up as like losing my position of leader?
I just wanted to do a vote and let the people decide who they thought would be better. I do not agree with Samuel's statement of people being mad at you specifically, nor that you were a bad leader. I just wanted to have a chance to change who the people decided who would lead.
All right, thank you. And finally, Micah, what exactly did I do wrong to end up not leader?
I think that people just see you as above the pile, like on top of the pile. And I think people just don't relate to you as much. And that's okay though, because everybody's different. And I'm still your friend, Alex.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the candidates?
I wanted to restate the question that Alex was saying to Samuel as well, where Samuel stated that I also did something wrong in my rule. I would like to ask him what he knows about it, seeing as he was not there.
I didn't say you did something wrong. I said Alex must have done something wrong because he was the one that kind of got voted out. You just kind of got forced out of it, but you also have had a chance, and obviously not everybody's voting for you, which means it wasn't amazingly great, but I just think it would be good to give somebody else a chance, even Micah, even though that's hard to believe that he should have a chance at presidency. It just seems a little weird.
Awesome, thank you. Is that all the questions? All right, so now we have just finished the final round of questioning. I would like to give each candidate 2 minutes right now to make your final closing statement, and you'll have 2 minutes of speaking that statement to the audience. Be aware you don't have to use the full 2 minutes. So we will have a time of silence for just 2 minutes, and candidates, please get up to making your final closing statements. Just to understand that closing statements should basically have your opening statements, goals, and perspectives, but considering what you all just discussed and learned throughout this debate. All right, everyone, the 2 minutes is up. We will be starting out with Alex. So, Alex, please give your final closing statement for the audience.
Thank you, Evan. I believe that from the beginning, I have maintained a consistent argument, both for why the triumvirate would benefit the server most, and also why I, as previous leader of EMP, still can manage the server well, with respect towards all its members. From the very beginning of EMP, I have seen the server grow, and it has brought joy to my life, as well as joy to all the members that are part of it. I have grown to love the community as a whole, and also the individuals who make up the community. In perfect honesty, I can say that I will do my best to continue providing for the server and helping the server thrive. I would like to continue to say that the triumvirate is the most balanced method that would allow the server to continue to grow, as it would balance the power and keep power from splitting us apart, from keeping disputes and potential arguments that don't really matter to the core values of the server from splitting us apart, essentially unifying us. Thank you very much to everybody who's part of this debate, and to my opponents for speaking with me. I've appreciated this debate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Next up, Samuel, please present your final closing statement.
I will say this was very fun, and I hate talking to people, so I'm currently very stressed out right now, and I'm gonna be done. So bye.
Thank you so much, Samuel. And next up, we have Micah.
Wait.
Oh,
Also, I come from a middle class family.
all right. Next up, we have Micah. Micah, please present your final closing statement to the audience.
At this point, I think we all understand that I am a man of the people and that no matter what, everyone's best interest will always be my top priority. I believe that the server will thrive if I am president and that no matter what happens, I will always stand for the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Micah. Simeon, can you please present your final closing statement for the audience?
Fellow members, thank you for your time and engagement in this debate. This server has grown into a unique community that balances simplicity with meaningful connection. My vision, as if I were to become your leader, is to preserve what makes this space special while making thoughtful changes that to meet our needs as we grow. Throughout this debate, I've addressed a variety of questions, including some that reflect concerns about leadership consistency. Like what I would do if personal circumstances, such as having a girlfriend, took up my time, which obviously would be a problem. And I provided a clear and practical answer to that and other questions during our discussion. Leadership is about listening, adapting, and building on what works. I'm committed to keeping this server true to its roots while preparing it for the future. Thank you for considering me as your leader. Together, we can grow and thrive as a community.
Thank you so much, Sim. And thank you, everyone who is watching this debate. Thank you to all the candidates for presenting your arguments and having this debate all together with us. What I would ask of the audience now before you leave is that you consider what was just discussed and go over to the voting channel under the election category and help that consider what you will be voting for and if you need to move around your votes that you previously did without a debate now. So now we have some context onto the people's arguments, their goals and purposes, and so you can consider that through with your votes. Thank you everyone for being here and have a great night, everybody.
Good
Wow, everybody
stuff.
just-
Good
That's
stuff.
incredible.